Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Today we have one of the most classically beautiful cars of all time. This is a car that has intrigued me and eluded me since I was a teenager. I remember when they were secondhand for $4,500. Well, who's got that kind of money? And then they were $12,000. Well, that's crazy. Then they were $30,000. Well, that's more than new. And now they're just phenomenal because it is truly a great piece of kinetic artwork. It is just a rolling sculpture, Pininfarina body. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB4 cam. This, to me, I think, is the ultimate Ferrari. It's the era when Ferrari really made an impression on me. Has the most impressive V12 engine. We'll open that hood and show you what it looks like under there. We'll get to drive the car, and you can ride along with us and get a sense of what it's like. But let's meet the very generous owner who brought it over here today, David Lee. David, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey, good, Jay. How you doing?
David has a wonderful collection of Ferraris. We drove a bunch of his cars. I got to drive his LaFerrari for Jay Leno's Garage on the CNBC show, the TV show that we do. This is my favorite. This is my era. You know, I was 17 years old when this car came out, and it made such an impression. I mean, and it's the classic Ferrari. V12, front engine. What is it? How many liters is it?
It's 3.3 liters.
3.3 liters, which is really about the size of a small block V8. That's like like a 302, something like that, basically. Right. But it seems so huge when we were kids. And it makes how much horsepower?
It's 300 horsepower.
300, right.
Yeah. 4 cams, you know, V12, 4 cam. It's tremendous. You know, the other thing I think you appreciate it because Ferruccio Lamborghini was the one that spent a lot of money to make the 4 cam.
Right.
And then when Ferrari saw that was a good situation, they made it on this car.
Right.
Yeah, so it was kind of inspired.
You know, you have to go back 50 years because 4 cam is so incredibly exotic. Now you can pick up a Nissan, and they're all 4 cam. To see those 6 carburetors, the 4 cams, the twin oil filters, oh my God, it was just a visual feast when you opened the hood, because as impressive as American V8s were, this looked like just the height of complication and sophistication. Now you open that hood and it looks, pretty straightforward compared to modern cars with plastic things and everything going every which way. But you know, there's not a straight line anywhere in this car. Everything flows and moves. It's perfectly proportioned. It's really one of the most beautiful cars of all time. Is this one that you lusted after for a long time?
For a long time. I actually had a 275 GTB 6 carb, a short nose 6 carb, which was nice, but I've always wanted a 4 cam because that's the ultimate driving road car Ferrari. And incidentally, for Piero Ferrari, it was also his favorite car, because when I asked him, I said, what's your favorite model of all the models? He said, this was, and it was because when he was 16, his dad taught him to drive on the GTB.
I mean, so his dad, of course, Enzo Ferrari,
yes.
And your dad teaches you to drive. Okay, well, take the car out and learn to drive on the Ferrari GTB. That's very, very funny. But, you know, it just harkens back to another era, the classic wood steering wheel. I mean, there's nothing like a wood steering wheel. I like modern steering, but they're thick and they're, you know, I just love feeling that through your hand. And of course, nothing sexier than the gated shifter. Yes. It isn't always about being the fastest guy out there. It's what's the most involving, what's the most exciting to drive. And that's when and it goes into that, it's really, really something. And how long have you had this one?
Well, I've had it maybe 6 months or so.
Oh, that's okay.
But the guy that had it before owned it for 47 years.
Wow.
A doctor in San Francisco, and he took care of it. He kept everything original. He did restore it once, but everything was restored to original.
And think how quickly you could make house calls as a doctor. Just run out, you know, get over. I gotta go. Yeah. Can we open the hood? Let's take a look.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. I love the crinkle finish on the cam covers, valve covers.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know, and the 4 cam was the first not to use the wire wheels.
Right.
So it was first to use the non-wire wheels. So this is again very original to the 8.
As much as I like the Barani wire wheels, these look more purposeful on this car. You know, and of course that famous Ferrari Air Cleaner. Try and find one of these. Oh my God, that would cost you
Yeah.
10 grand, 15 grand.
Sure.
I mean, you could get an air cleaner or a Kia. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
You know, I mean, these have become such objects of desire at this point. It's pretty amazing. And it's interesting that there were no headrests. Most American cars had headrests by
Okay.
67, but still
Okay.
not the Europeans. And it's last of the old school build quality. Guys with hammers,
Yeah.
old Italian guys, bang, 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 you know, amazing.
And you know, this one looks a lot like that Ferrari 250 GTO. A lot
Right.
of people feel like just a lot of similarities and stuff.
And this was just coming into fashion, this cam back,
Yeah.
you know, in the mid 60s. Because everything, like I said, is mechanical. There's a logical reason. Like on this car, you want to adjust the clock, you pull the stemmer.
Yeah.
Monocar, you hold down the clutch and press the air conditioning
Right.
button while you have your seatbelt on. I mean, it's not intuitive. You
Right.
know? Oh, man.
Right. Right. Very straightforward.
And of course, the famous Ferrari exhaust. That was another thing that no American cars had at the period, the four pipes like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about the four-wheel independent suspension and disc brakes, things like that? Did they have it, Jay, at that time with the other cars?
Well, Corvette in 67 had independent suspension,
Okay.
four-wheel disc brakes.
Okay.
But yeah, and Ferrari was not innovative that way. I mean, they kept the live axle and drum brakes for a long time. But I think when Lamborghini came along and Ferrari started seeing the competition
Right,
out
right.
there, you know, there's nothing like competition to improve the breed.
Exactly.
It's really the best. And of course, the nice big pie plate tachometer. You know, I always say I love any dashboard I can read without having my glasses on, you know,
yeah.
because the gauges are like this big, you know.
Sure.
Just, it's fantastic.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, this is a car you could get a glass of wine, sit in your garage in a chair and just look at for hours. Because proportionally, there's nothing off on it. There's nothing on this car where I would say, oh, I wish I'd done this, you know. Even 4 slats instead of 3, you know, everything. It's got the right seats, it's got the right steering wheel, the gated shifter. Oh, the one thing I did like in, like the Lusso was the quilted leather in the back. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But this is when Ferrari was really starting to build road cars to keep the racing going.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what Henry Ford tried to buy.
Right,
you know,
right,
back in the
right.
day.
And they didn't, and they made the GT40, right?
Right, right. And the covered headlight, which I always love.
Yeah, I love that. That's really, and I was talking to one of your guys that restores. He said this part is just the hardest to make, to fit in.
And how many of these did they build? Any
So
idea?
350.
350 of these. Okay.
But you know, these are just so few. Even though you think, well, 350, but a lot of them, the surviving ones, and then the ones that are original and restore well, the numbers just start coming down.
Yeah.
So
it's just fun to go through old copies of Road and Track from the early 70s and see how cheap these were. You could buy them secondhand.
Oh, I know.
$4,000.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was a lot of, you know, you could get a new car, a brand new Corvette, or a secondhand. Oh, well, give me the new car. You know,
Right.
people didn't think of old cars the way we do now. You know.
But when, you know, in those days, did people think that this was any? Did they have the same allure as it was?
Yes, even more so, because nowadays you can get on the internet and you can see a video of one of these going around a track, and you see it in color and in high definition. But when I was a kid and you grew up in New England, you waited for Road and Track and you saw a picture of it. I remember once a Lamborghini Spyder went through town. I didn't see it. I just heard from it. Everybody talked about it. You know, you're all hanging around the Dairy Queen parking lot or whatnot, and it just drives me. and people, the kids followed it. You know, they went to the next town to see where it went. I mean, it was different. Now you can have access to anything, whatever you want. But you know, nobody looked under the hood of a Ferrari when I was a kid. If you did see one, it was maybe at the auto show or something like that, you know. So, yeah, I would say the mystique was even greater.
Really?
Because Ferrari was a very tiny company, you know, with a handful of Italian workers when Henry Ford tried to buy it, you know. It was just a little company, and they made race cars and they made street cars, you know. So, but the reputation has always been there. And this, to me, is their most beautiful period, to me, the mid-'60s, when there was no rules and regulations. The headline had to be this high. I mean, the bumpers, it doesn't protect anything. You know.
exactly.
Tell me about the tires. Did you have to get those special or those?
Well, those original tires that were to period, you know, the tire companies still make them, fortunately, so that we're able to get them out. And because the old tires would be too dangerous to drive, they would probably blow out.
Right.
So these are new ones that to period.
And the nice thing about David is he drives all his cars. He's not with collectors that locks it away and nobody can see it and don't touch the car and look at it. He brings them to all the shows. It's really great, and
I love it. It's really a lifestyle. You gotta live the lifestyle with it. You can't just
it's
like you.
It is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's gotten to be like a crazy expensive lifestyle.
Yeah,
because it used to be. Well, let me see. When this car came out, it was about $17,000, and the Citroen SM was $14,000 or $15,000. So it was priced just like a lot of other cars.
Okay.
I think the Lamborghini Miura was more. I think the Lamborghini Miura was $22,000. And that kind of knocked these back a bit because the rear engine and all that kind of sexy stuff.
Right, sure.
But I mean, they were more. Well, Ferraris had never really been affordable, but they were more affordable then, certainly than it is now. You know, now everybody knows the game, and you know. But it's.
Oh yeah, I know, it's really, and I just bought it 6 months ago, so I definitely paid top market dollar for it.
yeah. But you certainly got a beautiful car.
I did.
It's maybe painted once, what,
Yeah.
maybe 30, 40 years ago?
Yep.
Wow, so that's a 30 or 40-year-old paint job. That's amazing.
Yeah, the guy kept up really well, and my guy keeps it up really well, just as well as your guys, and that's what you need to, it's investments.
Yeah, I think it's time to take it for a ride. This is what I like, because with modern cars, I spend so much time, I'm in the car, oh, is my phone synced up? Have I got the thing as the navigation?
Right.
And with modern cars, you're always doing this.
Yep.
You know, you got CarPlay, the car's reading emails to you. You know, this is the era when you bought a car when you want to get away.
Yeah.
You want to get out of the office, whatever it is, you'd hop in this thing and go for a drive.
Yep.
You just listen to that motor, listen to that engine sing and go through the gearbox. It's just, there's so many distractions on modern cars. This thing, you might check the time, and that's it.
That's right.
But that's it, and that's what I love about it, just the purity of it. There's nothing in this car that doesn't need to be here. The only maybe superfluous thing is the electric window. Ooh, have electric windows. Sure. And in '67, electric windows were a big deal.
Yeah.
You don't have to go like this,
No, I just bought some new cars, and still don't even know how to use all the functions, and it bothers me.
Because you don't feel like you don't feel like a car guy because it's not intuitive. I like to get into a strange car like this.
Yeah.
I got in, I instinctively, okay, I see the shift pattern, I see the clutch. Okay, I know how to drive this car.
Exactly. How's it drive, Jay?
It drives very nicely.
Yeah.
I always say this, the real trick to Italian cars is letting all the fluids come up to temperature before you drive it.
Yep.
Like, obviously, this is a car that's been beautifully maintained. It's got, 84,000 miles on it, but it feels like it's got 3,500 miles on it, I know you're a watch guy. That's what David does. He's a watch dealer. And when you shift this, it's like turning the mainspring of a watch. He's looking at my my iWatch with a kind of a grimace on his face. But this is the watch I use at the shop because I can answer phone calls. Sure. But he's like, oh, what is that?
I know you got good watches, though, but that's why this has the Porsche Synchro.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. That's when they put it in the Porsche Synchro with Ferrari on this 4-cam.
Oh, they work together, the two companies?
They did work together on that. And Jay, that they said this car can go 165 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast.
Now the red line in this car is about 7,500, which was unbelievable back in the day. Nowadays, even Mustangs go to 8.5,
Right.
But back in the day, most American V8s were out of breath at 5,000 RPM. Sometimes design has to age. Like when you look at a 53 Hudson, the way it's all rounded, it looked dated in the 50s, but you look at it now and it looks like an Audi TT, it's a beautiful shape. I know it's only 300 horsepower, but it's a different 300 horsepower.
It's a different, huh?
When you get the new Mustang 4-cylinder, that's got 300 horsepower,
Right.
but it doesn't feel like this, you know?
Right.
I mean, this talks to you. This sings.
It's a good drive, right? I mean, it's a good feeling.
David E. Davis, he was the editor of Car and Driver magazine. He said everybody should drive a 12-cylinder car at least once in their lifetime.
Right.
And you really see the difference. This is so turban smooth.
Yeah. Yeah, all my classic Ferraris are V12, front engine V12.
Yeah.
I just love it.
And at 3.3 liters, it's not overbuilt.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. And this is a Colombo V12, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think Lambretti did the others, as I remember.
Yeah.
You know, Enzo Ferrari got the idea for the V12 from the Packard V12.
Oh, yeah.
In 1915, Packard came out with a V12.
Oh, okay.
And Ferrari was so impressed with it.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't a racing motor,
Right.
but it was just smooth. They go, oh man, you know, that was sort of his inspiration.
I see.
I like a steering wheel, it's just a steering wheel.
Yeah.
No buttons, no nothing. Horn in the middle.
Yeah. When Steve McQueen had his cars, like he had his Lusso and he had his GTB4, not Spyder. Did you remember that back then?
Yes, I didn't know Steve that well. I knew him a little bit. And near the end, he died in 1980. But he was into all kinds of weird stuff. Early American motorcycles, pickup trucks, you know, everything. I mean, he had the Ferraris and the Porsches, and then he had just kind of cool stuff that he liked.
Yeah. Next year there's a 7-year anniversary, like I was saying, and there's one, and they're trying to take from all the iconic cars of the last 70 years to inspire for this new car. So they gave me an allocation for a F12 Steve McQueen inspired car.
Oh wow!
So it's going to be chocolate brown, and inside they're going to make it as much as possible that look like that Lusso that that his
cool.
wife gave him.
Yeah.
But it'll be one of one car. And
was that Ally McGraw gave him that car?
Yeah.
I always like 66, 67, because it's the last year of pure design.
Right.
By 68 and up, all the government regulations came in. You had to have bumper height, you had to have headlight, you had this. Whereas this, you could just design something, like you look at a Miura. It's not a bumper on the thing. I mean, you can't park it anywhere. You can't, you know, but it's just so cool.
You're right. This era, I think, was the best for Ferrari.
Yeah.
I went to this high school, and this gal, she was a rich gal, and her dad would drive her. I think it was a 308. Drove her to school, you know, Ferrari red. She'd come out, everybody thinks she's so cool, so lucky. You know, wish she could have a dad like that, drive me in a Ferrari, right? So now I have a Ferrari and a lot of Ferraris, and I say, hey son, do you want me to take you to school? Oh dad, hey no, you know, just you know, don't drop me off like wherever you see me, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
Like, what the heck? Hey Jay, do you like sushi or?
No, I'm not a
You're not a sushi guy.
No,
You're more just.
I'm just basic, you know.
Yeah.
He married his co-star.
He did.
You know, I always say this, we're only about 8 miles from my shop, and we're on roads here in California that have no traffic on them at all. So if you ever think there's California's always bumper-to-bumper traffic, it's not. Look at this. We haven't seen another car, and we're driving a red Ferrari through the hills. What's more fun than this? Come on, let's drive some more.
Yeah, for sure. Temperature's still good.
Temperature's good.
I like
Oil
that.
temperature just coming up now.
Yeah.
Got plenty of headroom. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know, Lincoln could drive this thing. Wearing a big top hat. You know? nice torquey motor, pulls. Because a lot of supercars beat you up, you drive them, let me pull over, I'm getting a cramp on my leg, or there's something, you know, they're uncomfortable. Whereas this thing, oh my God. And the hood, you know, the overhang is so short, you're not looking down some long hood trying to figure out where the front end is.
Now, Jay, this is the, you know, in the GTB, they have the long nose and the short nose.
Right.
In the regular 275 GTB, they had two versions, the long nose and the short nose.
Right.
They were saying at high speeds, the short nose was like wobbling and stuff. So in this 4-cam, they only made the long nose.
Right.
Long nose version. So yeah, that's supposed to help.
But it's just a different era, you know?
Yeah.
All the people who built this car are gone now. Or if they're alive, they had to be pretty young when they started, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, you might have worked at this factory. You know, Valentino Balboni, he was the test driver for Lamborghini. He started Lamborghini when he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
So
they just made a whole career of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's sort of the golden age of Italian cars.
I was at Maranello, and so they took me on the La Ferrari on the Verano track, and then the official test driver is Dario. Right. And so I was talking to him, limited, I didn't speak any English, but the person that translated said, I was talking about the cars I have, and he goes, oh, yeah, the 288 GTO Evolution. He goes, yeah, I remember driving that, testing that back then, you know, because he's been there for over 30 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, making it a career. And he just remembers those cars firsthand.
Everybody waves at you in this car.
Well,
what did your dad drive?
My dad, we had he had a 240 Mercedes 240D.
Oh, a 240D?
240D.
Like the slowest Mercedes?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And is that the non-turbo?
That's non-turbo. I remember trying to get as much juice as I could out of it, you know.
Stick or automatic?
Automatic.
Oh, that's really slow, isn't
really
it?
slow.
Yeah. Would your dad think you're crazy to have all these cars, or he thinks this is just the nuttiest thing?
He probably thinks this is nutty. I remember, I mean, he passed already 5 years ago, but I remember when I got my Lamborghini, he just really couldn't understand why I needed to get that.
Did he go for a ride in it?
He like I had to persuade him, like, you know, it's really cool, Dad. You know, nah, it's not, you know, it's okay. Eventually, I got him in it once, I think.
That's very funny. It's just, but you know, you love him for that. I mean, that's what it is. It's that old school stuff.
Yeah.
It just makes me laugh. Well, what a bucket list thing this has been. What a thrill. David, thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
You know, if you're wondering how can you afford these kind of cars, David is probably one of the biggest watch dealers in America. What's your website?
HWLjewelers.com.
HWLjewelers.com. So if you want to buy a watch from Real Car Guy, and you have driver's watches too, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
All kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, check it out. Check out some of the driver's watches he's got. He's got really good stuff, and he's got really cool cars. And being able to drive this is one of my fantasies from back in the day. And thanks for making it come true, David.
Thank you, buddy.
David Lee. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.